folks, and welcome to Mountain Talk here on WMMT. I'm your host, Parker Hobson. So if you're a fan of country music, you might have heard of the 1927 recording sessions that happened down in Bristol, Tennessee. Those sessions have been called the Big Bang of country music, as they featured the very first recordings from artists that would go on to major fame, like Jimmie Rodgers and the Carter Family. But according to a recent article from the National Endowment for the Humanities, of the 50 some odd musicians who recorded in Bristol for those sessions, only about a dozen were women. And this despite the fact that women then, like now, were a major force in the playing and passing on of traditional music. And so almost from the very beginning of what we know of as country music, the stories of many of the women who have played a huge role in it have been overlooked. There are no doubt many reasons why, but among them are things like social expectations, like how in some cases women were expected to quit performing if they got married, or were expected to spend more time at home raising children, while male performers, on the other hand, were more free to travel, to tour, and to make careers in music. In any case, this gender disparity in what we know about country music actually inspired a whole series from us here at WMMT back in the 1990s, which we called Southern Songbirds. Produced by Rachel Anne Goodman, each episode of Southern Songbirds profiles different women artists who have been integral to country and traditional music over the years. And today here on Mountain Talk, we'll be hearing two of those episodes, and both of them about Appalachian banjo players. First, we'll visit with Ola Belle Reed of Western North Carolina, and then with Matokie Slaughter of the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. So up first today, here is our episode about Ola Belle Reed.
Every time in history has its singers of songs, people who bring communities together through the music they write. Some of the most influential songwriters in this century have come from the folk traditions of the Southern Appalachian Mountains. Many of the most outspoken of those songwriters have been women like Sarah Ogan Gunning, Aunt Molly Jackson, and Ola Belle Reed. Hello and welcome to Southern Songbirds. I'm your producer and host, Rachel Anne Goodman. Today we'll visit with singer, songwriter, and banjo-picking woman, Ola Belle Reed. In addition to being nationally recognized as a folk artist, Ola Belle Reed has written over 200 songs. Her songs reflect a personal philosophy that was formed in the Blue Ridge Mountains where she was raised. Ola Belle Reed grew up with 12 brothers and sisters in the small mountain community of Lansing in Ashe County, North Carolina. In her large extended family of uncles, aunts, cousins, and grandparents, nearly everyone played an instrument.
I've been asked many times to describe my life in the mountains. And there's one point that I specifically like to make and want to make is that I don't believe there would be any way in the world that you could possibly describe it. There could be no fun made of it because it was a life with the earth, your elements, as the old people called it, the birds, the animals, the bees. You knew every season. You could tell. You were raised to kind of tell when a storm was going to come. I always tell this because you could see the leaves turning in the summertime particularly. In the winter you could tell if it was going to snow because of the color of the base of the trees. So many things you just grew up with that you get away from as you go through life if you're not careful. As far as the music is concerned, we did gospel, we did blues, we did everything. That's why I'm saying you cannot separate your music from your lifestyle. You cannot separate your lifestyle, your religion, your politics from your music. It's a part of life, and that was what our music was in the mountains. It was a part of our life.
High on the mountain, the wind blowing free, thinking about the days that used to be. High on the mountain, standing all alone, wondering where the years of my life had flown. I looked at the valleys down below, they were green just as far as I could see. As my memory turned, oh, how my heart did yearn for you and the days that used to be. High on the mountain, the wind blowing free, thinking about the days that used to be. High on the mountain, oh, standing all alone, wondering where the years of my life had flown. Oh, I wonder if you ever think of me, or if time has blotted out your memory. As I listen to that breeze whisper gently through the trees, I'll always cherish what you meant to me. High on the mountain, the wind blowing free, thinking about the days that used to be. High on the mountain, standing all alone, wondering where the years of my life had flown.
Like so many people who grew up poor in the mountains, Ola Belle Reed had to leave home to find work. Her search brought her to Rising Sun, Maryland. Together with her brother Alec, she got a job singing on radio station WWVA in Wheeling, West Virginia. In the late 1940s, she met her husband Bud Reed, and together they organized an outdoor country music venue called the New River Ranch. Musician Alice Gerard remembers seeing Ola Belle Reed perform at the ranch with her band, the New River Boys and Girls.
I just really admired the way she got out there, and she was the leader of the band, there's no question about that. And Alec, it was sort of like she was the leader and Alec was kind of her foil. Alec was her brother. And he was the sort of quiet one, and she laughed a lot, she told jokes, and she said sort of outrageous things. And I always thought she was really pretty, too. She had real long red hair. And to me, it was, in certain ways, her music was almost secondary to the fact that she was this great show person, and she just got out there and kicked up her heels and made you laugh, and it was real down home and just very natural.
Oh, I don't know if I can do quite that fur or not.
Ola Belle Reed performing John Hardy at the New River Ranch in 1955. Another woman who Ola Belle Reed has inspired musically is singer-songwriter Hazel Dickens. Like Ola Belle Reed, Hazel Dickens moved from Appalachia to Maryland to escape dire poverty. Seeing Ola Belle Reed perform for the first time, Hazel instantly recognized a kindred spirit.
She's a very unusual person. There's not hardly the kinds of words that one would need to describe her. But she was always very tied to her roots, and she was always very close. It seemed like she always had that feeling wherever she was at. She was always carried that that persona, the way she was raised in the North Carolina hills. But she still did the old songs, and even the ones she wrote a lot. It was still in that style and with that flavor. And you don't see that very often. It seems like to me that after a while, after people start writing, they start to change because they want to keep up with the times. And she didn't do that.
Well, flower around my pretty little miss, flower around my daisy, flower around my pretty little miss, you're about to drive me crazy. Oh, the higher up the cherry tree, the riper grows a cherry, the quicker you begin to court, the quicker you will marry. Now I wish I had a nickel, wish I had a dime, wish I had a pretty little girl to kiss her and call her mine.
The banjo-picking woman has been a powerful image in country music since people like Cousin Emmy and Lily Mae Ledford appeared on country radio in the 1930s. With her banjo and powerful voice, Ola Belle Reed fit the bill perfectly. Mike Seeger, co-founder of the New Lost City Ramblers, first met Ola Belle Reed in 1955 when the folk music revival was just taking hold across the country.
I was immediately struck by seeing a banjo-picking woman on stage who was the co-leader of the band. She and Alec would share the emceeing, and you could tell that she was very strong at what she did. And I was always very much drawn to that because, you see, I've been raised on a couple of records, especially by Lily Mae Ledford, and that was always a very strong thing in my mind as far as banjo picking was concerned, the banjo picking woman.
I don't know if any of you, if you ever heard or saw a train go across the top of the mountain. There was only one train. It was the New River train that went through our area at the time when I was a girl. And as it'd go across the top of the mountain, you know, I'd get up to the top. It'd get slower and slower. And then when it started down the other side, it started picking up. You're from down there, you know that. So the time that my daddy played on it was the time like a train a-going. So.
Yet another musician who has been influenced by Ola Belle Reed is Kathy Fink. Kathy recently recorded an album dedicated to women in early country music called The Leading Role after one of Ola Belle Reed's songs. Kathy Fink describes Ola Belle's banjo style.
The thing that stands out the most to me is the amount of blues that is incorporated into her banjo style. Her technique, her right-hand technique is a fairly straightforward claw hammer technique. Her left-hand technique is very, very simple. She uses D tuning a whole lot, the kind of tuning that people use for the song Reuben's Train. And she uses blues notes an awful lot for old-time country musicians.
Before the protest movement of the 1960s, Ola Belle Reed was writing songs about class struggles and working people's rights. These songs come from personal experience. Ola Belle Reed.
I don't need any publicity, and I don't need anything, because there's very little more humiliation that I could ever have. There's very little hurt anymore that I could ever have as long as I lived, if I lived to be 100. But that is the way I feel somewhere along the life's lost highway. Because back in those mountains you could live, you could breathe, you didn't know, I did not know till I got out into the world And the stark realization when we moved out that people could look at you and say to you, like a woman that I kept house for, that it's no wonder that the people from the South never amount to anything, see. You see, that I can look at that today objectively. This is one thing that I believe people, this may be something that would be helpful to young people if they could get a hold of it. You have to get to the place to where you don't hate, see. You have to be hurt enough until you can see far enough that you really will do when it comes doing time, see, not just holler and not just say. You have to get to the point of where you have to do. And you get a rat up in that corner and you start punching him, see what happens. Now he'll bite you. You fight to the very last, even if you overcome him. You watch it and see.
Ola Belle and Bud Reed recorded in 1986 at the Augusta Heritage Festival in Elkins, West Virginia. It was Ola Belle Reed's 71st birthday.
Sunday morning, dark clouds rising. Oh, there's no sunshine anywhere. Strong winds blowing. God give us wisdom to grasp the message in the air. If I could have one wish and know that it would come true, I'd wish that God would give us strength to know just what to do. Then we could tear that fence us all in. Fences created by such evil men. Oh, we could tear down the fences that fence us all in. Then we could walk together again. Now let's sing that. I'm going to point to you when you start on tear down the fences, and I want you to sing it loud. Then we could tear down the fences that fence us all in. Fences created by such evil men. Oh, we could tear down the fences that fence us all in. Then we could walk together again. Now let's sing that. Oh, maybe we could walk together again. Let's hear it. Oh, maybe we could walk together again.
Women in the South have been very political a lot of times. I mean, extremely political. I mean, when you get somebody who's a Southern political, you've got, often a radical political. It may be that in some cases you have to move away, before you can begin really speaking your mind. Ola Belle did. Hazel did. Sarah Gunning did. What I really like about Ola Belle's songs and Hazel's songs too, are that they're such good songs. Very often political songs are not particularly musical to me. And so it's just great to have people writing songs that are.
Some people don't think of rural people as having the ability to be radical, but they're some of the most radical and class-conscious people in the world because they're thinking about it all the time. They're not just there taking it like a lot of people think.
I have prejudice towards prejudice, let's put it that way. And I have no jealousies. If people have things, can do better than I can, go farther, that's great. But sometimes those that have been lucky enough to go far it sort of hurts me when I see them that they don't appreciate it. And when I say that the average everyday person, their representation, it may take them a lifetime, it's taken me a lifetime to find it, and I find more representation and more love and more equality in the young people of today than I've ever had in my whole life. And through the young people, many of us older people are becoming, let's say, educated about life.
Ola Belle Reed was honored by the National Endowment for the Arts in 1986 when she was a recipient of the National Heritage Award. Here's a recording of the awards ceremony in Washington, D.C. Studs Terkel is the announcer.
Ola Belle Reed, you'd call the bard, or being a woman, I guess the muse of the Blue Ridge Mountains, where she worked and her parents worked and her grandparents, and it was a hard time all through the Depression, and then heading toward Maryland, toward what she thinks and the folks thought was a better life. Again, hard work, but throughout those tough, rough days, she heard music, songs handed down, whether it be the Anglo-Irish Scots ballads from the old world about lords and ladies and unrequited love, or songs about work here. And as Ola Belle puts it, she says, I've worked for the rich, I've lived with the poor, Lord, I've seen many a heartache, there'll be many more. I've lived, I've loved, and sorrowed. Been to success's door, I've endured, I've endured. Here then, representing the salt of life and the resilience of the human spirit, we begin with Ola Belle Reed.
Well, I'd like to say that it's a great honor for me to be here, and a lot of luck, too, at my age. But I'm really serious about thanking everybody for everything. And my favorite saying is, and I know you all understand this, and for all of the people that have worked together for this thing, you know, we all need each other, whether we know it or not. So I'm going to play for you if I can, if my hands are not too stiff. I've endured, like the Terkel said. Quit laughing.
Ola Belle writes from the point of view of someone who has something important to tell you in her song. You've got to hear this. I want to tell you something. She really believes that the lyrics inspire people, that they help change the world, that they make us better people. That's what I really appreciate about her music. There's a consciousness to every written word, and she's a natural poet.
In this song, this doesn't mean that we starve to death like people think, but we had, you might say that it was a job and a problem to feed a family of as many as there was in ours.
15.
Yeah, there was 13 children. Endurance is a thing, just as you were speaking a while ago, enduring the good, the bad, the pain, and the all. When you speak of peace, man must be at peace with himself and his fellow man before that there's peace. You see, that's but if you're not at peace with yourself, then you're not at peace with your fellow man, and then if you're not at peace with you nor your fellow man, you couldn't be at peace with God, wherever he is, whatever he is.
When I go from this life, let me go in peace. I don't want your marble at my head and feet. Don't gather around me just to weep and moan, for where that I'm going, I won't be alone.
For all of those who have come in contact with her, Ola Belle Reed holds a special place in their hearts. I asked friends Mike Seeger, Alice Gerard, and Kathy Fink how history will view the contributions of Ola Belle Reed.
I think it will be her songs. I always thought of her as a banjo picker and a singer and a real character on stage.
I think her songwriting and the kind of person she was. I mean, if anybody ever wrote a biography of Ola Belle Reed, she is a very amazing woman. And it's just her, everything she's done, her philosophy of life, the way she presents herself, her abilities, and her songwriting, which reflects some of that. And I think those things will be the things that go down.
I think that the people who have really personally come in contact with Ola Belle will always remember her as, a person who had a humanitarian agenda long before the consciousness of that was really broad.
Together, here we go. As I travel through this life, it's the struggle and the strife, though the days may be weary and long. As I search for happiness, I find peace and rest when I sit down and sing me a song. Now here you go. Oh, won't you sing me a song? Sing it. Oh, won't you sing me a song? When I come to the end of my journey, and I know it won't be long, and I know it won't be long till I cross Death's Silent River, till I cross Death's Silent River. Don't cry, just sing me a song. One more time, let's go. Oh, won't you sing me a song? Louder. Won't you sing? When I come to the end of my journey, when I come to the end of my journey, and I know it won't be long, and I know it won't be long till I cross Death's Silent River, till I cross Death's Silent River. Don't cry, just sing me a song. Don't cry, just sing me a song. God bless all of you. It's been wonderful being with you, and we love you. I hope you understand that.
You've been listening to a program about Ola Belle Reed through an episode of the former WMMT series, Southern Songbirds, and that show was produced by Rachel Anne Goodman. We're going to take just a quick break here, but stay tuned after the break for more Mountain Talk here on WMMT. Welcome back to Mountain Talk here on WMMT. I'm Parker Hobson. Today on the show, we're hearing about two highly skilled and deeply influential Appalachian women banjo players. And here for the second half of the show, we bring you a profile of Matokie Slaughter, who was from the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. Matokie was also the subject of an episode of the former WMMT series Southern Songbirds, produced by Rachel Anne Goodman. And here is that episode now.
I kind of feel like that this area, although it was very mountainous and somewhat isolated, was also a crossroads. The railroads came in, coal mining began, blacks came into the region, and I think that stimulated the music more than the isolation.
Sometimes I think it's just kind of born in me. You know, just a talent I was born with or something, because I can't remember learning to play. I just remember playing.
The town of Pulaski, Virginia is nestled into the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Pulaski is home to one of the few female old-time banjo players still performing today. Welcome to Southern Songbirds, a radio series honoring the women of old-time and early country music. I'm your producer and host, Rachel Anne Goodman. Today on Southern Songbirds, we'll visit with Blue Ridge banjo picker Matokie Slaughter. We'll accompany her to some old-time fiddlers' conventions and festivals around southwestern Virginia, and we'll hear some real old-time mountain music. We'll look at where the music has been and where it might be going as we approach the 21st century. Matokie Slaughter spent most of her childhood working for her family or neighbors as a farmhand, a lifestyle that did not permit her to attend school. She did, however, learn to play the fiddle and banjo.
The only thing I remember about playing the fiddle, I wanted to play the fiddle. And I was so little I couldn't hold it. And my daddy would sit me up in the middle of the bed and give me that fiddle, and I'd sit there and saw that thing in the middle of the bed. That's the only thing I remember about learning to play the fiddle. I can remember Daddy getting me up on his lap and holding the banjo and let me sit on his, and he'd hold the banjo and I'd sit there and play. But I was playing then.
In contrast to most of the other women profiled in Southern Songbirds, Matokie Slaughter never really had a commercial recording career. To her, music was part of everyday life, not a means to an end.
Back then, kids had to work. It ain't like I'm growing up now. We all had work to do. We'd get out and cut the wood, milk the cows, and all that stuff. We did have one opportunity one time, I think, to go to, they come around Pulaski collecting music for the Grand Ole Opry. And me and my sister was chosen to be one, and we was supposed to went somewhere to play, but we never did get to go.
When the recording companies began making records of mountain music in the late 1920s, many women like Matokie were excluded from the process. The demands of work and motherhood and restrictive social codes prevented many women from pursuing solo music careers. This fact means that there are fewer examples of women musicians on disc, making research difficult. We are fortunate that County Records recorded the banjo playing of Matokie Slaughter on 2 of their Clawhammer Banjo compilation albums. Here is Matokie playing Giorgio. Like many string bands in the 1930s, Matokie Slaughter and her brothers broadcast their music weekly on a local radio station. And while many women played the fiddle or banjo at home, few were heard playing a lead instrument on the radio.
They would write in and tell, I played the fiddle when I played with them. Played the fiddle, my brother played the banjo. And people would write in and say, get that guy to play so-and-so on the fiddle.
That guy? They weren't aware
Get that fella, yeah, they wasn't aware I was a woman.
Did you realize that you were probably one of the few that was playing back then?
Yeah, I realized that because I never did meet up with no women players.
None at all?
They were all men playing, you know, guitars and banjos and different things. I just played what they played, or they played what I did.
Dale Morris is a founding member of the Blue Ridge Music Association from Grayson County, Virginia, a group dedicated to preserving old-time music. Matokie has been one of the regular performers at their concerts.
There's not that many ladies you see that play banjo anymore. They used to.
Historian Helen Lewis of Dungannon, Virginia, remembers a time when women instrumentalists were more prevalent in the Appalachian region.
I do think a lot about the fact that there used to be a lot of women musicians in families. And then you go to a bluegrass festival and practically all you see, or at least for a long time, all you saw were men. There are more women now, and some young women have just have been notorious for invading the field, you know. I mean, traditional musicians, there were a lot of women. My grandmother's sisters played fiddle. And most any family, if you go back, you know, a couple of generations, you'll find that a lot of the women played music. But then when it became commercial, very few. Mother Maybelle went out, and the Carter family as a family, some family groups went out. But women, if they were the only musician and they were not part of a family group, did not get to Nashville, and they did not get out on the radio.
Sorrow in the summertime, sorrow in the fall. If I don't get my sorrow, I won't have none at all.
As rural women left their farms to work in the factories, many of them laid down their instruments. Matokie Slaughter worked at a furniture factory for over 25 years, making minimum wage as a varnish sprayer on the assembly line. During the years at the factory, she was raising a family and had little time for music.
And then these people working these furniture factories have to go in the store and pay the same price for their food, getting $3 and something in there. They pay getting 8 and 10, 12. That's bad, you know. I ask my old man sometimes, I tell him I don't know what people eat. You know, have to eat on the table. Of course, we worked at them all of our life too, but we always grew gardens and canned beans and beets and all kinds of stuff, you know, carrots and raised potatoes, corn. See, we grow that stuff and we can it. Well, we got that. And I tell him I don't want these people that don't raise gardens, don't can up stuff, and have families work at these factories. I tell him I don't know how they make ends meet.
We're fortunate to be able to hear someone like Matokie Slaughter, who represents a style that's almost vanished. This style, as music historian Charles Wolfe speculates, may be the last remnants of a truly female style of banjo playing.
What you are reduced to doing is a sort of musical archaeology. For example, I suspect that there was a tradition of banjo playing that we don't know anything about that I like to call a domestic style of banjo, which is the sort of thing that you might have heard more of if we'd been able to hear more of somebody like Samantha Baumgartner. That basically was it was a style associated with women. It was played primarily in the household, around the household. It was a much softer, more intricate style than the sort of music that got recorded. And we see remnants of this today in the banjo playing of people like Aunt Bertha Robinson down in Alabama. You see remnants of it perhaps in Matokie Slaughter's music. A type of quiet, intricate, soft banjo music that might have been gender specific.
If there was indeed a style that can be attributed to women, then Matokie Slaughter may be one of the few women of her generation still playing it. Matokie has her own way of defining her style. She sees her banjo playing as different from that of the younger players at the old-time music conventions.
There is a difference in old-time banjo playing and clawhammer banjo playing. Because over theirs, when they'd had the fiddles convention over there, they would have two categories of it. One clawhammer and one old-timey. Well, I play the old-timey way, which anymore I have noticed you get out there and you never hear. You hear a lot of clawhammer banjo playing, but you never hear much old-timey playing.
How about Stillhouse?
That was a recording of Matokie Slaughter and Alice Gerard performing at the Augusta Heritage Festival in West Virginia. Alice Gerard is a musician and old-time music advocate who is responsible for introducing Matokie Slaughter's music to audiences across the United States. According to Alice, the round-peak banjo style that came out of Galax, Virginia, and Matokie's old-time style are very different.
It's old-timey. It's not that rapid-fire, single-note, round-peak style, and it sometimes she picks up. You pick up with your finger and down, don't you, sometimes? And a lot of double thumbing and some rhythmic sort of chord sound as well. So when you're talking about old-timey, like what Matokie plays, and maybe somebody like Wade Ward, or Matokie defines herself as an old-time banjo player as opposed to a clawhammer banjo player.
To me, there's just so much difference in clawhammer and old-time playing and, you know, our playing and rock and roll music.
Old time is, of course, the thumb and usually the fourth finger, with a downward motion. And I believe Matokie, she's got her own unique style. I think most clawhammer banjo players do. She not only brushes down, but I think she comes up as well some with her forefinger. I know dancing, most people that clog and flatfoot prefer old-time music to dance to because the beat it's just more in tune with their feet.
Musician groups would come in and join with who in the family wanted to play, and everybody, all the neighbors who played music would come together, and they would move all the furniture out of a couple of the rooms and they would dance. And radio was coming in about that time, and if the musicians weren't there, they'd dance to the radio. That sort of setting fitted well with women musicians.
Some of their children would get married and they would give them a shower. And then they would get us to come and play the music, and then they'd move everything out of one room, and they'd have a dance in there.
We can begin to piece together the sound of a music which was based in the homes of mountain women, born out of a lifestyle in which kinship and necessity bound people together for generations. But with the coming of radio and television, old-time mountain music nearly disappeared forever.
After World War I and especially World War II, with the radio, it brought in other kinds of music from the outside. And I know bluegrass got started in the 40s and the 50s, and a lot of the younger musicians, instead of staying with the old-time sounds that maybe their dads and mothers played, they liked the bluegrass.
It wasn't until the early 60s that mountain music began to make a comeback. As young people from rural and urban areas began to rediscover old-time music, a sort of revival began to take place.
And I think it's started picking back up with the whole sort of folk revival, and then it became a groovy thing for the young people to do it. And younger women felt it a kind of a daring thing. It wasn't like they were going back to tradition, but they were breaking tradition, they thought, almost, by entering this man's world.
I know in the 60s and the 70s, a lot of people from up north or out west or away from this area came in liking the music or heard it by chance somewhere and came here to discover more of the music from the older musicians. This has been good, I think, because it not only helped them or helped the music get wider exposure, but it helped some of the local people discover, hey, this music is special. Look at all these people coming in to discover the music. A lot of the local people started noticing the old-time music instead of maybe the bluegrass or rock or whatever they was drawn to, and seeing their culture, and not to be ashamed of their culture, but to be proud of it.
Richard Blaustein is a musician and folklorist at East Tennessee State University. Like Dale Morris, he feels that old-time music has created a bridge between urban and rural cultures.
There's just any number of living examples out there of people who have made that journey, made that quest, and in many cases I found that the people to whom they come are flattered. They're just absolutely thrilled that there are people out there who care about this stuff, because most of the people around them really don't care about it that much. And so what you get is this kind of formation of new alliances that cross ethnic lines, and this is going on all over the place. A major, focus of Appalachian music would seem as though it is Southern Appalachia. Actually, there's a whole bunch of non-Appalachian people, who have come to identify with this music, and not just in the United States. So you have this kind of emphasis on locality, but the music has in essence become global. And I don't think it's become inauthentic in that process.
I never knew that anybody would, would think that much about my banjo playing. I never paid that much attention to it, that, people would like it.
A lot of people like Matokie look upon their music as sort of a family heritage that they are taking care of, and especially in areas where there isn't much tangible family heritage to pass on. The thing that Matokie got was her music, and that this was part of the family heritage she's trying to preserve.
That was Matokie Slaughter on the fiddle and her daughter Virgie on the banjo, recorded at the Dublin County Fiddlers Convention in Virginia. It was the first year in several that Matokie didn't place in the banjo competition. Folklorist Richard Blaustein has been observing the phenomenon of change occurring at these conventions for several years.
You get lots of people around the country who are kind of getting distressed because you get these young kids coming along and they have listened to Benny Thomas, and they have listened to Mark O'Connor, and they have studied the stuff in ways that people weren't able to study it before, and you can't say it's bad music because it's not, and they just are grinding the older musicians into the ground. And all I could say about that is, gee, that's part of it too. I mean, you never go home again completely. You never go back to the way it was before. It's always a reinterpretation, and consequently, I listen to modern contest fiddling, and I say, gee, that's neat, and I can see the connection. I can see where it's going. You can't preserve it, by freezing it in time.
old-time banjo player, and I hope a whole lot of people learns it from me. I'd hate to see it just die out when I'm gone. It wouldn't be right, would it?
You've been listening to a program about Matokie Slaughter through an episode of the former WMMT series Southern Songbirds, which spotlights women in country and old-time music. And that show was produced by Rachel Anne Goodman. And that's it from Mountain Talk today. Thanks so much for listening. For WMMT, I'm Parker Hobson.